obviously thinking a lot about that and how to describe it more clearly and more easily. And I think the best way that I can actually describe it in one word actually is that Magnet is community. It's all about community coming together to solve some issues that we have in the province of Ontario around unemployment or youth unemployment and underemployment and new immigrant employment. We have an amazing technology that is enabling us to do that called Who Plus You that was developed at the Ryerson Digital Media Zone. But really, what this is all about is business, labor, academia, not-for-profits, and government coming together in one place, in one platform, in one initiative to say enough is enough. We need to do something together to address these issues. So as you can see, scrolling along the bottom of the screen, there are a lot of partners that are involved. We're onboarding new partners every day. It initially started with a grant from the province of Ontario to launch this initiative with 17 post-secondary colleges and universities in the province, but is growing far beyond that, which we're really excited about. So how do you become a member? You can come to our website, which you'll see on the screen right now, and click to the organization tab. And there's two ways to join this initiative. One, you can join as a member or as what we call a supply partner. So you just go to the organization tab, and you would be able to fill out this form, and then we would be able to provide you free of charge. There's no cost. We would provide you with a landing page, and I'll show you what that is in a moment. We'll be able to provide you a landing page, access to the system, and a basic dashboard tool to understand your community and to engage your community. There is an advanced analytics dashboard, which I will show you, which is really exciting and allows organizations and communities that have a lot of members to gain deeper insight into their community and to understand how to serve their community better, whether it's a school or a professional association or a community organization that's working with youth or any other group. The insight is really valuable, and you'll see what I mean as I go through the system. So what we're really doing is bringing community together, connecting everybody together, and enabling people to find opportunities like jobs and any other opportunity that would be relevant to them in a much more efficient and effective way. So as you can see, I'll just go quickly. As I said, many partners jumping on. These are the academic institutions that are currently involved. We have community organizations that are jumping on, as well as a lot of umbrella organizations like Essential Skills and First Work and One Step. We also have a partnership with the Ontario Chambers of Commerce to promote this in all of the local communities around the province to really engage their 60,000 employers who are members of the Chamber of Commerce to bring opportunities to the system. So one of the major opportunity categories that I'm going to talk to you about today is jobs. And it's a very important issue, obviously, when we're trying to solve youth unemployment and underemployment. But the system really can bring almost any type of opportunity and present it to the right people. So we're going to jump over now to the technology, and I will come back and we'll close and answer some questions about how you get involved with Magnet if you would like to. But we're going to jump into the technology side now. So I'm actually just going to show you quickly first what a landing page is. So what happens, Magnet, again, will provide all of the support to help you engage your community. We'll provide you with marketing collateral that you can reach out to your community and so on. So let's, for example, say we'll go to the George Brown landing page, and you can see what a landing page looks like. So it's branded with George Brown as well as Magnet. And any individual in George Brown that signs up or signs in through this landing page is affiliated with George Brown, not only because of what's in their profile, but also the fact that they were signing up. And every community organization or member can bring individuals or employers. let's just pretend that we signed in through the George Brown landing page, that I'm a George Brown student. What would happen is I would have a welcome screen, a welcome video like this. And one of the things we want to do is get people started quickly. So we ask them to build their profile. So it's let's get started. And we knew that we had to make it very easy for individuals to build a profile. Some people have invested time in LinkedIn and building a profile there. So we have an import from LinkedIn so they don't have to redo the work, or you can import from a resume. So I'm actually going to show you, for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to show you importing a resume. So I'm just searching now on my computer for a resume, and I'm going to upload it. And hopefully I'm not signed out. I may actually be signed out of the system, which I am. I apologize. So I just need to go and sign in again. Sorry about that. So I'm going to import from the resume. We're back in the system. Going to just quickly, sorry, just one moment. Just need to shut this. Import from a resume. I'm going to do the same thing, find the same resume again on my system and upload it. So in that amount of time, now that we're actually signed into the system, it's uploaded the resume and brought it into the system and put it into the profile. So it's taken all of the information from the resume and put it into what you can now see on the screen, which is an individual's profile. So why would we want to do this? I used to be responsible at Ryerson for over 10,000 students in career development and placement, and it was very difficult for me to know or have insight into my community. I knew how many students I had, I knew which programs they were in, and I knew what year they were in, but beyond that, I really didn't have that much information. So when there was an opportunity that came up that had a very specific, demographic that they were targeting, like maybe it was, I remember employers calling and asking, how many fourth-year accounting students do you have that speak Mandarin? And that was a very difficult thing for us to answer. Certainly, I was not able to answer it at the time. And I think that's quite typical of a lot of institutions. We know in general, we can maybe meet with students, and the students that we meet, we have a deeper sense of their background, their skills, and their profiles. But having more information would certainly help us serve them better. So just by uploading the resume that quickly, they build a profile on the system, and we start to have that information in aggregate. It's anonymized, which I'll show you later, an aggregate, and the profiles are private. So the individual always controls access to their profile and when they want their profile to be seen based on the opportunity. The other major difference, we talked a little bit about LinkedIn, which is a great tool, but this is very different from the standpoint that the taxonomy of how we collect information and the level of detail is much more structured, and it's much more detailed, which I'll show you as we go through really quickly. So this person's just uploaded their resume. Over on the right side, it says there's 4 more required fields. So we'll just step through these really quickly just to give you a sense of how fast it is and easy it is to build a profile. So you see it's saying we should put in our work eligibility in the system. So it comes in, and any of the required fields or recommended fields are red or orange, but I'm just going to quickly go United States and maybe United Kingdom to express that I have the ability or work eligibility in those countries. I can quickly add the languages that I can speak at a working level so that I can use in a workplace. I can quickly add them in. And we have all kinds of informational text. So all you have to do is roll over one of these little information boxes, and you'll have more information about what this particular field is asking for if there's any confusion. We have the ability to have sub-affiliations. So if say a school has student groups, it could be student groups, but any organization that has subgroups that wouldn't typically be captured in the resume through an educational work experience, we can add them in, and people can actually affiliate to those. So we're just going to save that. and it saves it. And you'll notice now there are only 2 required fields left. So we'll go into the undergraduate degree. Now it picked up this information from uploading the resume, so it knew it was a degree, undergraduate, Bachelor of Engineering, and so on, but it did not pick up, you see in red here, it did not pick up the faculty or main focus area. So we can just start typing. This particular student was an engineering student, so we can just start typing engineering, and it will bring up all of the engineering fields that they may have focused in. So I'm just going to pick computer and biomechanical engineering. I'm just being random, but I think you get the point that it's very quick and very easy. I could have as well started, for example, typing aerospace, and it would have brought up engineering aerospace. So it's very quick to find. We have taxonomies for all of the different fields. So for example, community services and social work, this particular individual is not in that field, but we have all of the different fields in the system. So the other thing that it's looking for here is current status. You can see that it's again red, so maybe it's a graduate, and they have an option to put in their letter grade that they achieved in that program. They can as well add any information about a special project, maybe a capstone project that they completed in their program under this educational record. So again, we're going to save that, and it tells me over on the right that there's only 1 more required field, so I'm going to go to work experience. And you can see here that it pulled in from the resume again. Remember, this all happened because not even a second to upload the resume, but it pulled in the job title, the job description. And one of the things we ask, we're trying to get detailed information and develop context around a person's experience. So we ask, when you were in this job, did you work in a function within the organization, or did you provide a skilled trade or service? This particular individual, they worked in the engineering function of the company. So they can pick engineering. And what did they focus on while they worked in engineering in this company? They focused on design, let's say design and documentation. If I had put, just for demo's sake, I'll show you a different thing. If I had have said I was in human resource function, I could have said human resources. And then it would have asked me, what area of human resources did you focus on? Was it administration, benefits, collective agreements, compensation, and so on? So then I could pick those areas. So now we know that that person focused on health and safety and employee relations in the human resources function in this organization, and so on. So we're contextualizing their actual experience record. And we go one step further. We actually ask them, what were the skills that you employed? So we could be maybe human resource information system. We had the computer skill human resource information system. And this person was an expert, had expert level competency in human resource information systems. If the skill, we have large taxonomies, again, like I said, we feel they're very comprehensive, but even if it's not there, an individual could type in that they have a skill that's not in the list. And what happens is the system actually starts to learn, if it's not in our taxonomies, we actually learn that this needs to be put in. So what's the job type? This person worked full-time. They were compensated on a contract. They had basically $10,000 to $100,000 in budget responsibility. They had 2 reports. So I'm going to say 1 to 5 direct reports, revenue responsibility, and so on. So I think, again, to make the point that we're really contextualizing this record that's in the resume. And this becomes very important when we want to connect employers effectively and efficiently to individuals. We ask some information about the actual employer. So you can see here it's employer info. So we asked the employer type, was it private, public, or not-for-profit? So how many employees? So this, again, contextualizes the size of the organization, which allows us to understand that this person was the a CEO of a company of 10,000 or a CEO of a company of 100. Or they worked in a small organization, so they get the culture of a small organization, or they worked in a large organization, and so that can infer obviously that they have a certain type of experience. So what was the employer's industry? So we asked the employer's industry. They're actually an engineering services organization, and they're serving, let's say, the automotive sector. So I'm just going through this as an example. Again, this is architected to work for individuals all the way from general unskilled labor all the way up to, again, as I've showed you more here, graduates from post-secondary and even senior executives. So it's really designed, and we are working with groups that are supporting people that are looking for general labor, and that's perfectly fine. The profile can actually fit across all of those different types of groups that we may be serving in our communities. So what does that give us? We've built our profile now. You can see over on the right, there's no more profile completion. We can actually go in and do a job search. This system right now is curating jobs from a number of sources. We actually aggregate all of the publicly posted jobs from over 2,300 companies, large employers in North America, and we have a partnership with Simply Hired, where we actually curate all of their jobs into the system. And what that means is we're actually, there's about 100,000 jobs in Ontario that are represented in the system, about 5 million across North America, and those are active jobs. But the point of this system is not just to have another job board. In fact, it's not a job board. We knew we had to have that option for people to search for jobs, but what we're really trying to do is make jobs search for people. So we're reversing the process. We're making opportunities find qualified people. And it really changes and removes a lot of the challenges and frustration and confusion that's happening now. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as I go through. So when an employer or an opportunity provider puts a opportunity into the system, a user or an individual would receive that in their communication section. But we don't expect people to be logging into our system every day. They'll probably be on Facebook and some of their other social media channels. But we can actually push those communications directly to them. So whether it's a text message on their smartphone or whatever the case may be, the user can choose the channel that they want to receive the information in. Right now we have email. We're incorporating text message, and we'll be looking at Twitter and some other channels. And one of the most important things is to realize that people's preferred channels will evolve. And so we can always push the opportunities to them as the system develops. So what I want to do now is show you what having your members in your community build profiles on the system will give you as a community leader, as a community manager. And this is what we call the Insight Dashboard. So at Ryerson University, we have about 20,000 individuals who have built profiles. And I may want to, as a director of career services, responsible for helping connect people to opportunities, I may want to go in and understand my student population better. So I can go in and, as I said, I have 20,000, but I can pick a subset of that 20,000. And I can actually do that by picking any combination of data points that are in the profile. So I could go in and I could say, well, I want to find all of the Ryerson students that live in Brampton, and I could fill out this location section. Or I want to find all of the students that speak, for example, Hindi. Now, again, I'm not going to know their names, but in aggregate, I will have the information to understand my community at an aggregate level. So what we can do as well, you can see we can go into work experience records. We can go into educational records, and we can go into general skills. So I can take any of these data points, and I'm going to show you an example in a few minutes. and actually pick a subset of the Ryerson population. So I may want to find, say, first-year business students, which is what I'll show you at Ryerson University, or I could say first-year social work students. Or I could say I want to find all of the students, for example, that work at a not-for-profit. And I can start layering things together. So I could say not-for-profit, but also speak Hindi, for example. So just to point out that we can layer all of these things to get a really granular look at a subset. So I can carve out all of the students, for example. What I'm going to do as an example is the students that, let me clear the settings just so I make sure I'm not, I don't have anything in the setting that I'm not expecting, and I'm just going to go into set demographic, and I'm going to show you really quickly. All I'm going to do is go into education for now. I'm going to pick a degree undergraduate. I'm going to pick business, so I want to find business students, all focus areas. I could have as easily picked business accounting if I wanted to drill into the accounting students. So I'm just going to pick business. I could, if I want it, I could put in a designation. I always show this. I don't know why, but I'm amazed that there are as many professional designations for nurses. Obviously, it makes sense when you think about it, but we could, for example, drill right into a specific designation, and we have these across all fields, so all of the professional designations are here as well. I'm not going to for this demo. I'm just going to pick Ryerson University. And these dashboards, just to be clear, would be set up for your community only. You wouldn't be able to see across the network, but you would be able to see within your school, within your institution, within your professional association or organization. So I just picked Ryerson University, business all focus areas. I am doing this on you'll notice if you look at the URL, I am doing this on a demo server. So this is not our full database, but it will show you basically how it works. So in this particular version of our database, we have 2,267 undergraduate business students. We actually have over 6,000, I believe, in the system in the real live data set. But in this case, 2,267 individuals, and I can start now to learn more about them. So I know I'm looking at business students now at Ryerson, not engineering, not social work, and I want to go in and I want to plot some information. So I want to find out what are the top 10 locations that they're from, what are the top 10 languages that they speak, who are the employers that they've worked at in the past, so cumulatively, so in the past and present, or I can just stick to the employers that they're working at now. For this case, I'm going to do cumulative. I can pick the top 10. I could pick all of these other things as well. So how many of the students have worked, for example, in the not-for-profit sector? And we can go into education as well. So what are the, if I had say a college, I could also see what other degrees that these individuals have. So maybe they're doing a certificate or a program at my institution, but I can see what other education they may have. And one of the interesting things that I love to see when I look at the data is to understand that I used to think in terms of that students were Ryerson students, but when you actually look at the data, people take programs from many different institutions. And so there really are our students or students of the province, and that's why we all need to be working together to solve some of these issues. But I could pick what are the top 10 institutions that they've attended, for example. You can display that. So now I'm actually looking at taking the graph. So where do those 2,267 individuals live? The top 10 locations. So you can see it's, for example, Mississauga and so on, Markham. We can see the top languages. So the second most spoken language actually in the Ted Rogers School of Management at Ryerson is Cantonese. Employers, so 23 of our business students out of that group actually have worked at Canada's Wonderland and Scotiabank and TD and so on. Now, why is this information valuable? Why is it useful? Why do I get excited about this? It's because we can actually really start to look at and develop custom targeted new tactics, new ways to engage employers, for example. So I could have picked all of the students across Ryerson that have worked as a teller. And to the banks, sometimes having a certain type of experience is predictive of success in other roles. So we can actually connect students far more effectively and connect employers far more quickly and effectively as well, and allowing them to do really targeted, engaging campaigns to individuals to let them know about opportunities. One of the things I won't take the time to show you on this demo, but we also have timelines. So I could analyze groups over time, so I can actually see how people, our alumni, how their profiles change over time from a certain program, from a certain demographic, whatever the case may be. So really interesting, very, very useful. I think you'll agree with me. And whether you're a university or whether you're a community organization, knowing the people that you serve can be a very powerful thing to help you engage your community. But it's more than that. So I've showed you what we call the supply side of this system. We also have the demand side. So as part of the Magnet network, if you remember, you'll benefit from all of the work that we're doing to engage employers across the province, whether it's through the Chambers of Commerce or ITAC or any of the other professional employer groups, professional associations that we're working with that put their jobs in the system. So we have all of the aggregated jobs from the publicly posted jobs, but we also, and I'm going to show you in a minute, enable employers to engage with our communities. And we're doing a lot of work to bring over the fall, to bring employers into the system. And when they do come into the system and they enter their jobs and those jobs connect to your community, you will actually be able to see all of the skills that are being requested right down to the skill level. So what we actually have built here is local, actionable labor market information at the actual, whether it's an institutional level, a community group level, or it could be a region, or it could be the province. At any level of aggregation, we can actually analyze this. So for your community, you have the potential to have this type of insight. With the free system, which we are providing absolutely free of charge, we would not be, unfortunately, able to provide you with this full tool, but you would have a basic dashboard to understand who's coming into your community, how many people are signing up, and so on. You would, however, have access to the full system to manage your community, engage your community. And this is what we call the employer side, but as a community owner, you can also use this part of the system to either act as an intermediary in providing opportunities to your community, or to engage your community for maybe your own purposes. Maybe you have an event, maybe you have something else, maybe you just want to understand and engage people that have a certain profile from your organization, your group. So I'm going to show you how an employer would use it for the purposes of this demo, but just understand that this is as well the tool that you would use to connect with your community once they've built profiles. So I have an example here of a job posting that was entered into the system. And it's a very easy for employers to enter jobs into the system. They can come in and they can simply point and click and say, I want an engineering grad that has this type of experience, these types of skills, and so on. They can add any kind of video to the system to actually profile what it's like to work at that company. Maybe it was an intern that worked there, or a co-op student that worked there, and they have a video and they use that to engage new students for the next cohort. They can add any kind of photos, any kind of information. So we have some groups, for example, there are jobs that are outside of the city. where a lot of communities are very eager to engage, for example, engineers. So if you're in Brockville and you want to engage maybe new immigrant engineers that are living in the GTA and in Toronto, you may want to put in some video about what an amazing, beautiful place it is in Brockville, what it's like to live there, what the community is like, and so on. So lots of ways and lots of different things you can use the tool or system for. But what's really important for you to understand is that this is not the typical posting that you would expect on most systems that you'll see today. This really is different, and I hope I can do a good job of explaining why it's different. As a opportunity provider, in this case an employer, builds a posting, it actually tells, as they're building it, it tells the employer exactly how many people are qualified. You can see where my cursor is up on the right. It says 56 people have the qualifications you're looking for. Now, when you put things into the system, things can be mandatory or preferred. So an employer could, for example, say, I would prefer to hire a Ryerson student because I am a Ryerson alumni. It will show everybody that's qualified, but it would show at a higher ranking, it would show the students, for example, from Ryerson. If they said they must be from Ryerson because maybe there's a funding program or something like that, then it would only show the students from Ryerson. So you can have mandatory and preferred things on any set of criteria. And so what happens, you can see there's a distribution of how the individuals, these 56 individuals, match up to the qualifications. So these people down here would have all of the mandatory requirements, but probably not very many of the preferred requirements. So these people up here would have both. So we can actually go in, as an employer, you can actually go in and you can actually see the detail of the requirements compared to what the individuals have. You can see that it says anonymous. So in this case, the employer would prefer that the person was a graduate since 2008. But what is really happening, this person does not fit that. But they have all of the other things that are mandatory and many of the other preferred things. Okay, they don't have SolidWorks, but that wasn't a mandatory requirement. So what happens then? The employer knows, and this is really important, the employer knows that when they send out this opportunity, it's going to qualified people. One of the biggest challenges of small and medium-sized business owners when they post a job is either not finding the right candidates or being overwhelmed with a lot of applications that don't meet the minimum requirements. And this causes a lot of lost productivity and lost time, and is very challenging. And it's one of the reasons that small and medium-sized businesses have a harder time engaging at our institutions if they're getting unqualified applicants or unqualified applications. As an example, maybe it's must be a graduate of the program, and you have people that are still in program applying for the job. Well, that's not going to work because the employer wants somebody that's available full time. So in this case, instead of posting a job and people looking for that job and applying for it, the employer knows that they're going to a qualified pool of candidates. When they actually activate the postings, all they have to do is click activate. Then it actually goes out to those 56 individuals. And if you'll remember back when I showed you the user side of the profile, they would receive that in their communication channel. Okay, and it may come directly straight through to their text message or phone. Another important point that I like to make is a job board is usually only frequented or visited by people that are unemployed. How many of you that have jobs and you're working are on a job board every week looking for the next step in your career, the next advancement? Not very many people. So a really important point is that if people build profiles, we can have opportunities that are relevant to them and valuable to them actually come to them and chase them. So jobs can chase people instead of people chasing around trying to figure out where the jobs are. So really important difference, has big implications for our graduates who maybe they graduate and they don't get a a full-time job in their field of study right away. Maybe they had to take a couple of part-time jobs to pay the rent and put food on the table. And again, they get in a rut. They stop looking and doing the things that they should be doing, and therefore, don't find that opportunity in the field that they studied in, which is what we all want, obviously, to happen. So that, again, as I mentioned, we showed you how an employer can see that. The employer has not paid a penny to put this posting up. They activate the position. And if they choose, what will happen, there will be applicants to that position. Now, you'll notice here there's one person's name showing. It's just for the way the demo, but way we have the demo set up. But typically, all of the candidates would come in, and when they express interest, so we know that we've gone out to a pool of 56 qualified people. We've actually been able, even before we sent it, to look at how they matched up, those 56 people. We could have adjusted the posting, but we've sent it out now. What happened, it went to those individuals, they received it, and 3 of the 56 people actually expressed interest that, yes, this is a job that I want to apply for. So they've actually applied for it. 3 people have applied, but they come to the employer as anonymous. So it shows up anonymous. But I can actually look at the candidate again. I can see now how this candidate who expressed interest matches up. And one of the really exciting things we're actually putting in the system within the next week or so is that the employer will actually be able to see the individual's resume, but it will still be anonymous. It will have all of their work experience, it will have their educational experience, but it will not have their name. It will not have the name of the institution that they attended, and it will not have the name of the employer or the location of employment. Why do we do this? Really important point, because it's reducing bias in the early stages of candidate acquisition. And we're finding that that is a really important thing, especially for new immigrants or people that may be looked over. So this employer knows that this person has the skills. They've been able to see the resume. They just don't see the name and the institution that they went to, but they know that they have the skills that they're looking for. When the employer makes a decision, yes, I want to find out who this individual is, they simply press connect and they proceed. They pay a small fee of $9.99 per connection. So instead of paying $400 or $600 for a posting that they're going to get overwhelmed with unqualified applicants, they can see right down to this level. They pay $9.99. And one of the most exciting things I think about this is that we're sharing that back with our community partners. We're actually providing, we're not charging you to join the network. We're not charging you for the support of the network. We're not charging you for the system. And we're actually sharing money back to you to make this sustainable. We really are trying to bring community together to solve some of these issues. And we know that resources are tight, especially in grassroots, community-based organizations. We're actually providing a way to drive some revenue. Now, it might not be a lot of money in large organizations, in, for example, a school the size of Ryerson, or across a number of organizations or institutions. It could be a significant amount of money, but we do know that it will offset, for example, maybe it would be enough to offset the cost of buying the advanced data analytics, which is really only $4,999. I know that's a lot of money for some groups, but we've invested a lot of money in developing and helping develop this system, both at the university and the technology. The company, Who Plus You, has spent a lot of money, so we are trying to find a way to make this sustainable, to give back to the community that's coming around and together on this. But we do have to charge for the data dashboard, and we are getting revenue to sustain this project from our portion or our share of the employer fee, the connection fee. So very excited that a community organization can get involved with this at absolutely no cost and can actually benefit as well with a potential revenue stream. So what happens, I'm now connected. You can see now it's not anonymous anymore. I've paid that connection fee to site, and now I know it's Saeed Gurbani. I can actually go in now and I can see his full resume. It's not redacted anymore. I can actually see, where he actually has worked. I can see more information about the institution that he went to. Saeed has been able to actually add a video to his profile to show the company that he actually worked at in Iran, I believe. He's been able to add any kind of collateral like photos to talk about some of the projects that he developed or built. We have some students that are doing really creative things. For example, if you're a photographer, you could have samples of your portfolio on this system. So it really is a full portfolio system to allow both employers and individuals express their value to each other. And you can see through the rest of it. So what happens? I now know who Saeed is. I can actually communicate in the system directly with Saeed because I'm now connected to him. So there's a full communication panel. I can share, send messages. I can share collateral and so on. So let's take a moment and think maybe this is not an employer posting a job, but it's a community organizer engaging their community members. And I think you can draw the parallels. It's really exciting because we can actually go into our community, we can find the individuals that fit a certain profile, and we can offer them and communicate things with them that are of value. I know that at Ryerson, one of the things, we have a lot of challenges engaging students. Getting information in front of people in any community is a difficult thing right now where they're going to take notice of it. We mandate at our institution that they have to use our emails, so they have to use Ryerson email, but frankly, nobody checks them. There's actually a big study that came out in the US in colleges and universities that shows that less than 7% of students are actually reading their institutional email. They have their other email, and they're not reading their institutional email. So when I email blast an amazing event out to students, they're not getting it. And then they're upset that when they hear that the event was on campus and they didn't hear about it. So we can complain and we can say that they all should be reading their email, but at the end of the day, we need to find ways to communicate with people, and it's been changing really rapidly. So the forms of communication, the channels of communication that people are using are changing almost monthly now, if not daily. And we need to find ways. So this is one way where we can actually understand our community, and then we can target and push communications to them, and they have control over the channel that they're going to receive it and want to receive it in. So again, I want to stop and take some questions. We're drawing to near the end of the hour, and I'm respectful of everybody's time. I have everybody on mute just to reduce the background noise on the webinar. But if you want to start typing questions in the comment box, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have. I can stay a little bit longer. Do understand if anybody has to jump off at 11 or even before that. But I will stay on the webinar a little bit longer and answer any questions that you might have. I just want to show you one more thing. You'll remember that this is the queue of individuals that applied to the job that we just went through and showed you. But I do want to point out one thing. I can use this system. I use the system at Ryerson to build instant online resume books. So I can grab an opportunity, maybe of an employer that's not currently recruiting from Ryerson. I could grab their posting. I can bring it in. I can put it in the system. I can find individuals that fit that, and then I can proactively reach out to the employer by using what I'm going to show you right now. I can actually say, let's assume that I acted as an intermediary posting this job, and Dan and Saeed applied. I can actually click here and here, and then I can create an actual guest, what we call a guest queue, but it's actually, for all intents and purposes, basically an instant online resume book of people at our institution that are qualified for an opportunity. I don't have to attach it to an opportunity. I could choose just that I want a resume book for all of the students in this program, and then I can distribute that to all of the employers that I know currently engage at my institution or hire from me. And that employer would get an email that looks like this with a queue of individuals, and they can actually just go in and they can actually look at the resumes, and they would be given access. But what's important to know is that the individual, every time an opportunity is presented, the individual chooses whether they want to be represented for that opportunity or whether they want to be public to the individual. Other than that, their profile is private. It's not like LinkedIn where you can go on and search for Saeed. It's a private profile system. It's a community system, not an open social platform, but it gives us the ability to connect people together, connect communities together, and it's very exciting. We've seen a lot of success with the system at Ryerson. We're formally launching the initiative. Magnet Initiative is being formally launched next week at Ryerson University. The Minister of Training Colleges and Universities is announcing the initiative. We're very excited about that. But what's even more exciting is all of the community partners that are coming together. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. We have, as I mentioned, just in the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've had over 350, over 340, I think it's about 348 to be exact, community organizations and groups that are everything from women's shelters to large professional associations, to career colleges, to universities, to colleges that are all excited and interested in coming in. And what I'm excited about is that we can actually now, we have a tool where we can do the work that we do in our community, focus on delivering to our community, but we're all as well working together for the larger community and solving some of these issues that exist in the province around youth unemployment, underemployment, and also new immigrant employment. I would point out, just as an aside, that's how we're positioning and that's our focus for this initiative. But the tool really will work for any group, not just youth, not just new immigrants, obviously. The tool is really a valuable tool for any group at any stage of their career and any community organization that wants to connect more effectively to its community. And I will repeat one more time, we're offering this for free to any organization that wants to join. You're going to get Magnet support. You're going to get the system for free. If you want the advanced analytics, there is a fee for that, to be clear. We're actually sharing revenue with you, and you get the full platform absolutely for free. All we're asking you is to join our initiative, join the what is a growing initiative and movement almost to really address some of these social issues that we have together. I really truly believe that the only way to address these things is through community, is through bringing community together. So I hope that you're interested. We're available. We have a team of people available to answer any additional questions you may have. But again, how do you join? You join simply by coming to this website and simply filling in on the organization page whether you're a member or you want to become a member and supply partner. So the supply partner distinction is where we actually pay a portion of the revenue. But some groups are becoming a member just because they want to participate in the initiative, they want to be part of and contribute to the initiative. It might be an organization that doesn't have individual members, but they want to be supportive. So groups like, for example, the Conference Board of Canada, who is now a member of Magnet and is supporting and all the great work that they do in trying to address these issues as well. So it's really about coming together, working together as a community, empowered by an amazing technology. But what's really going to make the difference is the community. So we hope that you'll become a member. And now I'd like to stop talking, take any questions that you might have. So if you look on your panel, on the control panel for the webinar, there's a chat box on the lower right. You may have to open it up, but if you hit the little down arrow, it will open up, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have. about the system, about Magnet, about the technology, whatever your questions may be, please feel free to type them in. I think there's going to be too much background noise to be able to let people chat back and forth. But if you're willing to enter any questions you may have into the box, we'd be happy to answer them. And you can reach us as well. So if you want to reach and talk to somebody on the team, you can reach us through this website. There's a contact us form that you can fill out, and we will get back to you ASAP. So again, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer. And I'll just wait now to see if anybody has any questions. If you need to leave, certainly appreciate your time. Thank you very much for attending. We do hope that you join this initiative, and really thank you for taking an hour out of your day on a Friday to learn more about what's going on. So I hear a lot of people signing off. Doesn't look like there are many questions, but really appreciate it. Thank you, Susan, as well. Again, if you have any questions, you fill out the form, fill out a request for information. We have a team waiting to get back to you. So please let us know. I'm going to wait just a couple more minutes in case anybody has a question. And then I'll be signing off. So I'll come back in a minute. But usually I get lots of questions. So maybe I just did a really good job today. I don't know. But anyway, thank you again very much. We'll wait a few minutes, and I'll come back on if there are any questions.
Okay, so you have
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I guess there are no questions. Again, please feel free to email us, contact us through the website. We are more than happy to answer any questions you may have as a follow-up. Really appreciate if you have no questions, maybe you can sign up today. So sign up as a member or supply partner, and we will be in touch with you with all of the tools and a kit to get you started. So thanks again, everybody, for your time. And please let other people know about this initiative. And we do this webinar every Friday at 10 a.m. So thanks again. We'll hopefully connect with you soon.